Hi, and welcome back to the Ministry Downunder Webcast. We've got Karen back here today. How you doing,
Hello,
Karen?
everyone.
And today we're talking with Wez Hone from Kingdom Business. How you doing,
Yes.
Wez?
Really good. How are you?
Going?
So how's things up there, up north?
Yeah, we're having a good time. Obviously, we work with about 250 business owners at any one time.
Wow.
So, as you can imagine, the fallout is huge. Both those people that are booming right now and those people that are suffering.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we're just hand holding them through this time. Praise God, we haven't lost one. So there's a lot of creativity out there that people are able to pivot and do what they need to do. So it's obviously a hectic time. Nobody saw it coming, but those that follow unction of the Lord and sound business practices, they're okay. Actually, they're doing well.
Yeah. So what is Kingdom Business, Wez? Can you give us a bit of a overall picture of it?
Yeah, I mean, I've done business coaching since 2006. All right, so what's it, 14 years, and 10,000 sessions with people and all this stuff, and all that really means is I kind of learned what works and what doesn't. And the typical way the world does business is the opposite, actually, to the way God wants it done. Most of the business that you ever see done, or if you read the newspaper or watch the headlines, it's a self-centered, self-interest, cross any moral boundary to get a shareholder return type world. And it's not what God wants. God laid out a plan for us, and it was that we prefer others over ourselves and we walk the extra mile. And so Kingdom Business in a nutshell is when we take our business and we basically lay it on the altar, although we don't physically because there isn't one, but we basically lay our business on the altar and we say, my business, I'm going to collaborate with you, God, but it is a resource to help the kingdom advance. So it's like saying to God, I'll run it, but it's yours, and I'll do as you say, and I'll do it your way. But I want the business to actually be a benefit to the kingdom to help advance it, not just a benefit of me.
That's good stuff. So it's really putting God as the CEO, I suppose, of the business, and just you being his hands and feet in operating the businesses.
That's exactly what it is. And a business can be a resource to the kingdom in many ways. It's not just money. I mean, just by default, by being in business, the roller coaster is so hard that you've got to lean into God. That's a good thing, to have that level of relationship. Of course, when you employ people, then you can be a witness to them, right? So that's a good thing. When you pay taxes, you're being good to your community anyway. So there's plenty of reasons why business is inherently good. And then, of course, you go right up to, you can have an increased level of influence, right? The bigger the business you've got, the more influence you can have in your towns and cities, communities, states, countries. And then, of course, you get to the checks where you can actually start to fund projects that do advance the gospel. And what a privilege.
That's good.
Yeah. One of the things you were saying, especially on day one of your seminar that we were able to watch online, thank you very much for that. I bought a ticket but watched online, so thank you for that. One of the things you were talking about is like that, and you have been talking about for a while, is preparing for times like this so you can kick into gear and actually go up a notch and leverage a situation like this sometimes when things are sometimes a little bit cheaper, or there's things that people aren't able to access. So I was just wondering, what sort of advice would you have for some entrepreneurs out there, or people out there, or even churches that are looking to invest or engage kind of at this time, if they have resources?
I think this, with what we're going through right now, I think this is won or lost in here. Right before it's ever won or lost in strategy, it's the emotional roller coaster, right? And the only people that get hurt on a roller coaster are the ones that get off before it finishes. So that's why we've just got to make sure that we have what it takes to hang on. So the reason why I say that is because we need to make a decision right now, and people are in one of two camps. They are either this has caught me by surprise, I'm a deer in the headlights, and I'm going to shrink back and play small. But actually, the same person could literally just make the decision that I'm going to expand through this. Right? Same person, same scenario, two completely different outcomes. And if you if you do make the decision to expand through this, you're going to have to work really hard, and you're going to have to be really creative, and it's going to hurt.
Yep.
But the other option will hurt more, you know. So you know, like there are businesses that this has done them incredibly well, right? You know, accounting firms, cleaning businesses, you know, like anybody selling PPE, like insolvency firms, like those businesses are scrambling to handle the increase. Okay, for them, it's an interesting journey because that's going to stop at some point. So how do they handle that growth? Then there's a group that are at the other end, and their business has been mandated and they're closed, and they have to do a really hard pivot. And I was saying to a group of our clients just last night on a call, I was like, don't worry if your pivot goes from I run a beautician's to I'm driving trucks. Like if that's what you've got to do to get through this, it's okay. And then there's a group in the middle that need to make a mild pivot, right? Where they've, you know, the traditional business, they just needed to innovate a little bit and kind of go in a different direction and pick up enough work. So everyone's in one of those three camps. But I guess, you know, it all starts in here with just making a decision of going, there is opportunity here and it's crazy. You know, as we walk this out, you know, there is like staff are going to be cheaper to hire in 3 months than they were 3 months ago. Premises are going to be cheaper to rent in 3 months than 3 months ago. You know, there's equipment like, you know, the auction sites have got a whole bunch of equipment as businesses have just decided to walk away. That stuff's cheaper than it was 3 months ago. You know, even we've been testing this with our clients and checking the prices of Google AdWords as a marketing campaign. Google AdWords across the board is 20% cheaper than it was 3 months ago, because people are opting to not market there. They're shrinking back. What that means is I can get 20% more clicks for the same amount of money. And so that's how somebody thinks. I'm going to be strategic and I'm going to expand out of this.
Yep. So at the moment, because everyone's clicking and surfing the web and things like that, I guess you'd be getting more bang for your buck as well, because you're getting more eyeballs seeing things, because Google and Facebook and those guys are able to put more impressions in front of people too. So
and that's human behavior. Like I'm spending more time on this than I probably should. You know, like as I'm sitting around with, I'm using this time to spend a bit more time at home because, you know, I've got young kids and what better excuse, right? But my screen time is up for sure. You know, I'm looking at this thing going, what do I need to buy right now? I think I need a ski boat. I think I was gonna buy one anyway, and now would be a good time to buy a ski boat because it's going to be a bit cheaper. So I mean, I'm looking at stuff on here. I'm thinking about buying an aeroplane right now for the ministry. So now's a great time to buy an aeroplane because someone needs to get rid of it. So
that's it.
So I'm doing more searching, more looking around, more clicking, and so's everybody. So that's why right now, you know, more content, more good quality videos, just like you're doing, is the name of the game.
Okay, well, that's good to know. We're in the right direction. So, like, one of the things, like from my business, particularly, I was in events, and so all my customers are offline events. So, day one, I went, I'm done, and day two, I went, now how do I pivot online? And then now I've got. What I found is a few days later is then everyone's in need of IT guys. So like I'm getting phone calls left, right and centre going, can you help me? Can you be my IT guy? Can you be an advisor? But then I had to make some decisions. Who do I go with and which angle do I take? So have you got any advice from people potentially that are overloaded by requests from people? How do you make a good decision of which way to turn?
Follow the money. That's what I would do. Just follow the money. Go with the people that can pay right now. You know, like it sounds a little bit crass and maybe even a little bit cold, but you know, we're entrepreneurs. It's got to be an element of what we carry. You know, just go where the money is. Like, you know, if there's 50 opportunities and 10 of them are well-funded people, just go to them. You know, like I've got clients who are builders and there's, you know, and they're not struggling because they've just moved their marketing to doctors, you know, lawyers, those people that are high net worth, who are actually at home right now thinking we should get a renovation done, you know, because not everyone's suffering financially. So they're thinking, okay, now's a great time. So, you know, I've got people that are in social media marketing and things like that who lost many of their clients, who I just said, you've got to go chase down the industries of people that aren't suffering and follow the money. And that's what they're doing. And they're picking up clients. So, because not everybody's suffering, right?
That's right.
A lot of people, some businesses booming, some people have enough of a buffer. They don't need to worry.
Yep.
Like those people are still making purchasing decisions because they can. And so you just got to, I'd be following the money with my choices.
Yeah, one of the things my wife found, she's a violin teacher, and she found that she lost some clients from middle class, but upper class people downsized to violin lessons. So then she picked up other clients. So
follow the money.
Yeah. But obviously right now, like, it's a bit different story. But like, she's still surviving and still trying to pivot and go, all right, well, how can I look for other opportunities like teaching online and things like that? So
And the cool thing is when we make that kind of pivot, because we're forced to, that could actually be an additional revenue stream forever. Well, it probably will be.
Yep.
But what what was maybe not mainstream acceptable, being virtual now is. Like if you'd said to somebody 12 months ago, I'm going to be a violin teacher, I'm going to teach them over a device, people would have said, no way.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, no choice. And now everyone's like, great idea. So we've got and so what'll happen when all this flushes out is you'll be able to keep those people that you had on digital, and you'll be able to go back to online and offline, and you'll have twice as big a business.
That's true.
I heard one pastor say just this week, he said, once this is done, we're not going to do the stream anymore. And I'm like, are you crazy? Like, you've got this audience that can't be in the building because they're all over the world, and you're going to turn that off just to have your own little world? And I'm like, that's kind of crazy, turning your market off just because you can.
Yeah, I mean, I think they may be thinking that now, but I think they might change their mind when their team get around and say, "Hey, Pastor, we spent 3 nights bleeding out of our eyeballs to build this for you. Let's leave it and keep going."
Yeah. So one of the other things you're doing at the moment is I saw you have a CareLine for businesses. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, it's one of the things for me that's really important, and this was before COVID-19, was the pressure that entrepreneurs live under. And it's not just entrepreneurs, it's everybody in 2020. We all have this heightened level of pressure that's on us. Pastors definitely, I mean, they have an impossible job description, but that's not typically my audience that I speak directly to. So when it came to business people, I knew there was going to be a lot of pressure put on people above and beyond through this. And I just wanted people to have someone they could reach out to and that would pray with them, but somebody who understood business people. Yep. So, we scrambled, we got that set up. We marketed it to our 15,000 followers. And the feedback I got was that it was very well used over that time. And so for me, it was a real delight I had the relationships, I had the connections. I was able to put the infrastructure together in a short amount of time and get it out there. And, I had one of my dearest friends take his life maybe 15 months ago. And it's just a horrible situation for everybody, and, I'm grateful this guy knew the Lord, and, but his family, they're struggling, and so the fallout is so high, and I just wanted to provide, that place really where people can reach out and get godly people to pray with them, who can, listen to them, read scripture with them, pray with them, and, and we just made that available. We called it the Kingdom Business CareLine. We put a phone number out there. We can link it up below if you like. And
great.
It was just a resource it was already on my horizon to do. This just gave me a really big reason to get it done.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Oh, that's fantastic. I actually sat back and went, well, I think I'm okay, so I won't ring, because I've had quite a few opportunities. And one of the things I've found is people want to partner up a lot more at the moment, because they're seeing they've lowered their eyes and gone, there's all these people around me that are very talented. Why don't we just team up and do some things together? So have you seen a bit of that?
Totally. Like, I mean, you guys reached out to me and said you want to do a call. I think I had 4 yesterday of these people who are like, can we get together and do something? And and I'm like, yeah, let's work it out. I mean, I don't have to travel anymore, right? I've got this month. I think I was supposed to be going to New Zealand today, right, for Life conference, which is a big conference in Auckland. Couldn't go to that. There's all these things that I find myself with the luxury of being able to be still a little bit more than I have been for the last few years. And so I've got that discretionary time to do these things. I'm seeing one of the beautiful things for me is I'm having a lot of pastors reach out to me. I put the call out maybe 2 weeks ago, and I said, hey, pastors, because I understand they've got an impossible job description and they can't be all things to all people. I said, if you've got business people and you just want me to kind of dial in and bring some wisdom and calm and counsel to how to navigate this, then I'm happy to. So we've had a bit of that, which has been great, like working together in that way. And that's a real delight for me to be able to kind of help a pastor navigate this with a group of people that maybe they don't fully understand, but I can be that intermediary, which is nice. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people work together. And ironically, we have a lot of people reaching out for business coaching. So,
that's good.
So
now's the time to do it.
Well, you know, and we pivoted. You know, we have typically run a program for 5 years where we put people in a room and fly them all across Australia into cities and train them. And so, but God's good, because he actually showed me an online program in December that I needed to create before anyone knew what a coronavirus was. And so I already had the blueprint and I had set the team up. I'd set the team up that we would build Kingdom Business University between July and December this year.
Wow.
Instead of taking 6 months, we did it in 6 days and we rolled it out. And so that's, you know, God was already leading us in that way anyway, going before us. So, you know, a lot of pivoting, a lot of collaborating, a lot of people want to work together. And I love it. Like, you know, well, we wouldn't have had this chat, you know, and so, you know, that I love that.
That's it. Yeah. And I mean, I even said to Karen, I said, let's just grab people, because lots of people like yourself, like, just trying to book someone like Wez is just impossible, like, because you just got your diary full for months usually.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
Like right now everyone's diary's just been scratched out and start again, you know. So it's just like, let's see if we can weave in between the gaps of what's getting filled up again,
and I think we have to notice that is a blessing, actually, that we do have a diary that got thrown out the window. You know, we do have those little bits of time. Like, what day was it? I think it was Tuesday. I went home at 3:00 and was swimming with the kids by 4.
Nice.
You know, like, it's just, that's a beautiful upside to what we're going through.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the other thing is, like, at the moment, because in Victoria we're back in school, so we've just gone back this week, and so we've been handed the curriculum that the teachers normally teach, and I'm reading these teaching notes just going, oh my goodness, I'm not a teacher. That's not my gifting. I'm gifted in many several other areas, but teaching's not one of them generally. So I'm sitting here just going, Roz, you're a teacher. What does this mean? like she goes, oh, it's easy. You just go blah blah blah. And that's one thing I'm seeing as well, is more people reaching out to use each other's gifts to fill in the pieces of the puzzle they're missing right now. And especially in churches, like we've got a group at our church called We Are Bright Church, and everyone's allowed to pitch in. Like, it's a private, it's kind of, well, it's a public group, but it's just the members of our church, and everyone's allowed to encourage each other, like, as a global community. And I think everyone pitches in different ways. So some people sing songs, other people play the drums, or people say a poem or whatever, or a prayer. And I think at these times as a body, we're pushing a bit more into that than we normally would, because I think we got to a stage where everyone had their own focus so much, we're heading in different directions, like
exactly
people. So have you found anything like, as far as like all the people you're talking to on the phone and things like that, are people focusing too much, you think, on their pond and not enough on the people around them, or you're finding they're engaging a bit more, or trying to engage? And how do they engage?
I think there was a bit of a dip, you know. I think if you look at the middle of March to the end of March, I think everybody did need to head down and focus. You know, like, I know for me, I needed 4 or 5 days just to bed down the business with all the changes. What does it look like? What are we going to do? How are we going to handle this? How do we get ready for it? And then after, 10 days of, okay, we've got it going, then I was able to look around. Who do we help? How do we serve? You know? Yeah. So I think it was a bit of both. And I think most business owners were the same, like, because it was so quick, like, I had the privilege of starting my business, this business. I've been in business since I was a kid, but this business was started just before the GFC. And so I had the benefit of seeing the GFC. So it was similar but wildly different, because the Black Friday happened in November 2008, but it took 12 months to contract. whereas we had it all here in 3 weeks. And so it was so heavy and so quick that a lot of people had to really double down and get almost a little bit selfish. I just need to do my thing because I've got to be a steward of that. Okay, now I can look at what do I do, and you know, and we've got clients right now who are mechanics servicing cars for free of you know, care workers at hospitals, and you know, trucking companies giving away things to make sure you know truck cabs are clean, and you know, like the level of serving that's happening from the Kingdom business world into their little communities is amazing. You know, there's never been a better time to pass through an industry than right now. You know, for me as the business coaching industry, I've got so many coaches reaching out to me, both Christian and non-Christian. The non-Christians are looking at me saying, "Where's all this hope coming from?" Because they're so scared. They're so scared, and so now's a brilliant time to start looking around and looking for opportunities for influence.
Yeah, I was talking to a lady on the phone from a bank, and she actually thanked me for being so joyful. She's like, "You're the first person today that's not in misery that I've talked to, and you've made my day." She goes, and she'd just say, "Can you just stay on the phone for like another 10 minutes and just cheer me up?" Because she'd been, like, this was like 7 p.m. So she'd gone through a whole day of, like, just people's lives falling apart. And I was just encouraging her and just going, "Look, don't worry, this will be fine. Like, these people will survive, you know." And
we get to be the hands and feet of Jesus, and there's no better time than now. You know, the GFC was another time. 9/11 was another time. Like, these are the times that we should be cherishing from an influence perspective, because people are scared. And when you're laced with joy, and joy lives inside of you, it can't not come out. You know, I was at Woolies the other day, and I, you know, got paid for my bags, and I followed the whole social distancing rules. And at the end of it, I just said to this young girl, she would have been no more than, I don't know, 16 or 17. I said, "Thanks so much for working today." You know, because it, you know, it wouldn't be easy, and she was stunned that somebody would stop and acknowledge her, and you know, she puts up with a lot of grief, she says, you know, and I'm like, you know, so anyway, I didn't preach to her, or I didn't witness, but who knows, another encounter in 3 months where she's like, "Are you with it?" You know, we leave all that up to God, but we do need to lace our conversations with hope and joy, and we become attractive.
Yeah, that's right. So how can businesses who haven't heard of you, Wez, how can they get in touch with you or find out more information that will help their business during this time of this COVID season?
Yeah, so I mean, if you our main website is kingdombusiness.com.au, kingdombusiness.com.au. But I decided, I'll tell you a funny story. We were in Melbourne, so we had 5 summits booked. We do summits every year. We get a couple of thousand Kingdom entrepreneurs together. We put them in a room. We trade them every March. We've done that since 2012. Well, this year we booked 5 over 6 weeks, and coronavirus fell after week 1, and we were basically shut down on our tour because the borders shut. And during Melbourne was such a funny, you know, comedy, because we went in not knowing what we were accounted for, and then halfway through the 2-day conference, the government changed the rules effective immediately. So during the night we had worship, and then the team had to push a wall out and negotiate with the venue and put seats 4 square meters apart and all this stuff. It was a high flex environment, you know. Wow. But anyway, on the morning of the second day, I was just praying by my bed in my hotel room, and I felt this really heavy weight land on me. Now, most people would think that God's trying to lift a burden off, but with me, this burden fell on me. And he said, "I have prepared you for such a time as this. I need you to go and be the champion for me to the Kingdom business world." And it was heavy. Like I felt like, you know, okay, I'm geared up now. We've got to go into battle. And, you know, and so I made a decision that day that I would put out content every day to help the Kingdom business community. So we focus that mostly on our YouTube channel. So we have a YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Kingdom business. And there's just content on there. I've interviewed insolvency firms. I've interviewed accountants. I've given my thesis on what you need to be doing at certain points of the curve. I've preached to people on there. So just content going up on there all of the time. And then just to tease you, something that I'm going to be doing in the next couple of weeks, is we're doing Mentor 24. I'm going to go live for 24 straight hours on
Oh,
YouTube,
Wow.
Marathon.
and interview maybe 12 to 15 Kingdom entrepreneurs from around the world, take Q&A, teach, and we're just going to do that because I think people really need a shot in the arm right now. You know, because 2 weeks time will be enough that it will actually be mostly behind us.
Yeah,
So we'll be able to put our attention on running. And so we're running this 24-hour thing where people can hop in and hop out and view and stuff like that, all free. We just want to make that resource available. So that'll be a bit of fun.
Yeah, that sounds great. So you'll put that on your Facebook page, will you, Wez?
Yeah, that'll go everywhere.
No doubt.
That'll go
Yeah.
everywhere.
Then I know where to find it.
Yeah.
Oh, Wez will find you.
Yeah, we do a pretty good job of that.
No, that's good.
Oh, nice. So, talk about your team a little bit, the Kingdom Business team. Like, how have you put that together, and what sort of people are involved in that?
Yeah, so we're a team of 5 in the office. That's made up of me, obviously, as the founder, Craig, who came on board as, head coach, if you like, 12 months ago. So he does a lot of the coaching with the clients as well as me. And then we have Pat. Pat's our head of media. So he runs all the studios and all the lights where we produce our shows. We have Lauren, who basically runs everything. And then we have Michelle, who is graphic design and a few other things like that. Outside of that, we have a very loyal team of volunteers. We have 27 chapters around the country of the Kingdom Business Network. They're all headed up by a local volunteer, so they're part of our team.
Nice.
Whenever we do events, we pull from our clients. Some of our clients are just so into changing culture through business that they come and serve at our events. So we have a team of 5 here, but we really have a team of 100 outside of the office who are with us and supporting us and shouldering the burden, which is amazing.
Yeah. So, some of the places the network is, what are some of the more remote places that you've got some network?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, we've got Cairns down to Adelaide, all the way down the eastern seaboard.
Yep.
We got Dubbo, which is somewhat remote. It's certainly not the middle of Australia.
Yeah. Like Bendigo or something like that? Or?
Yeah, Bendigo's about to launch. It's not far out of Melbourne. Yeah, there's probably the coast road and then just in a little bit.
Yep.
We haven't quite launched one in Alice Springs yet. But with that, all we do is we go with people that put their hand up. We're not trying to set up chapters. It's somebody goes, you know what, I want to run a group, and then we just get them set up. So if somebody was to put their hand up in Alice Springs, we would do it, but no one has yet.
Yep. So anyone who wanted to get involved in that network, that's just off the Kingdom Business site?
That's right, yep.
Cool, nice one. And you can also sign up for Wez's newsletters and things like that on the site as well. And all the links off to the YouTube. I highly recommend the YouTube, actually. I started watching it well before I actually joined Wez's program last year. And I actually ended up downloading them because I was going away, and I downloaded a whole heap and stuck away and just binge watched them. But
amazing.
Yeah, I'd highly encourage anyone to just tune into that and tune in live if you can too, because quite often you can ask questions and get
and we got the 24-hour live coming up. So
that's right.
That'll be fun.
So what's probably maybe the 2 most asked questions right now by people?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the number one question I get asked is my opinion on how this plays out, which is a hard one because I've got, I mean, who knows really?
Yeah.
All I'm looking at is I'm comparing us to 2008, looking at the economy, recovery. There's obviously a lot more money being pumped into the government this time than there was in 2008. The liquidity in the market is still here now, which it wasn't in 2008. So different, but same. So I get asked about that, and my standard response is, I'm the eternal optimist. I always tell people it's going to be sooner, because I want them to get ready. Because whether I'm right or wrong, the answer needs to be you need to grow through this and get ready.
That's it.
So I would rather call it earlier and be wrong and have people prepared for the turn than call it later and get caught and have missed it. So that's kind of how it goes in my mind. So
Yep.
That would be the number one question. And the second one is, is around the Christian faith. Like, how do we use this? How do we use this for good? And my standard reaction is just put out content. People will find you. You put out content that's laced with hope and joy and love and faith and kindness, and people will find you right now. You don't need to go and orchestrate witnessing to people. They just, you will stand out like a sore thumb if your words and actions are laced with those values.
So one of the things that you talk about in a lot of your seminars or on your YouTube channel is like getting on video and just making a video with your phone and just going for it. So what advice would you give to people like in that direction? Like,
so I mean my reason for saying it is, if you think about brands, right? Brands are the things that stand the test of time. Like, when was the last time Nike called you to say, do you want some shoes, right? They didn't. No. When did Macca's ring you and say, you're looking for a burger? They didn't. They are brands that people associate with, and they just want to go and buy their products, okay? Yep. For Nike to get that top of mind brand recognition cost them billions and billions of dollars, right? Since the 60s. If you take the car world, Volvo spent billions trying to be the safe car brand, okay? So they own, basically those brands have been able to own a piece of the real estate of the mind of the masses that say, if I want this, I go there. So that's what big business have been doing forever. Take that to, a hairdressing salon in Dubbo.
Yep.
It's the same concept. And that's what content now allows us to do. We can film something, right? And we can put that out on social media, on 7 different platforms, and we can start to be that top of mind company, that top of mind brand, that top of mind message, so that when somebody thinks, oh, I need, who is a hairdressing salon in Dubbo, they think of yours. Yep. And you can do that now easier and cheaper than any other time in history. Yep. So yes, you need some polished content, but you can just get away with a smartphone, some earpods, and a $9 tripod that you stick your phone on. It can be like that now.
And a virtual background.
Because of the blessing of 2020. And the way I would look at it is, if we're not producing video in 2020, then we're not using the tools available in the year that God called us to be a business owner in. Yep. Right? He called me for this time. He could have given me 1960. He could have given me, whatever, 1903, but he didn't. He gave me 2020. And so I've got to use the tools available in the time I'm in.
Yep. Okay, cool. So if people are looking to reach out and connect with you and your programs, what programs are you offering at the moment other than the 24-hour?
Yeah. So we've got KBU, Kingdom Business U. And that's, we do an intake every couple of weeks at the moment. And so there's one coming up, and there'll be one down the line. That's a hand-holdy 12-month get in there and teach you everything you need to know about business type thing. Yep. That's really the entry point, because all the other programs that we run are for people that have been with us year 2, year 3, year 4, and our large businesses. So you kind of have to have come through KBU to go onto those. Yep. But there's a whole bunch of free stuff on our sites, right?
Okay. Yep.
A whole bunch of free stuff on there that people can start to use and engage and so forth. And if you want to reach out to me personally, I'm really easy to find on social media.
Oh yeah.
Just go to Facebook and look at Business Greenhouse or Kingdom Business or Wez Hone, W-E-Z, Wez Hone, and I'm the one that writes the replies. I get them, I write back to them. I'm active on there. So I love to connect with new people. So if you're watching this and you're like, oh, why not reach out to this guy? Yeah, you're welcome. I'd love to talk to you.
Cool. So that course, one of the things I did when I started my business was a small business management course. Is that that hand-holding course a bit like that in a way, but a bit more tuned to your situation?
Yeah. So what we do there is we put people in small cohorts.
Okay.
Right. So small groups of 12, and they can start at different points depending on what they need. And then basically, every fortnight, there's something every week for them. So every fortnight they jump on and we'll teach a practical tip, and then they've got 2 weeks to go and execute it. And then we come back and we get another, could be a marketing strategy, and in fine detail. So you don't have any questions, go away and execute it. We come back and we check it got done. then we teach you something else. I mean, you go away for 2 weeks, you go and implement it, you come back, we check it got implemented, and we go through like that, right? So that's very hand-holding. It's sales, it's marketing, it's recruiting, it's systemizing, it's everything you need over 1 year.
So what point would your business or your idea need to be at to take advantage of that to the fullest?
In business is better, because then we've actually got something we can grow. Even if it's brand new in business, then we've actually got a product or a service that we can grow. We do actually have some people that are like right on the early stages of, I'm launching this in 2 months. That's fine. But if somebody was to say to me, I'm not launching my business for 6 months, we're probably not the best people to help.
Yep. So what do you think is the difference between a good idea that's like a home business and something that you should really throw all your weight behind?
I think you should throw your weight behind everything. That's my disposition. Is bigger is better. Okay. Now I know some people would say to me, well, I don't want a big business for whatever reason. They might have a partner that makes lots of money or whatever reason. But I still think to myself that the riskiest businesses are the smallest ones, you know, and they're the ones that get gobbled up by world events or competitors or the market or something. So I'm just always a fan of going bigger. Going bigger does not mean you have to be a slave to it. You know, Richard Branson doesn't check everybody in at the Virgin desk. You can build a big business and get out of it. You got to work hard for a season, but you can build a bigger business and not be a slave to the company.
Yep. Okay. All right. So we're starting a business. We're looking for resources. What are some of the good resources that you've come across? Like as far as that you've been advising people to jump on hold of and grab hold of?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an avid reader, so I'm a really big fan of books. You know, I don't attend I used to attend everything as a course when I was young. I was an insatiable learner when I was younger. A lot of the stuff that's out there in the business world comes from a non-godly worldview, and I'm really cautious of that stuff because even though it's subtle, even though it may have a hint of Christianity, it's not good enough. And in fact, many of it is trance-like and witchcraft, which is a concern. So when it comes to books, the E-Myth by Michael Gerber is a great one for systemizing. Guerrilla Marketing is a great one for learning marketing. Obviously, I've got my 2 books, Supernatural Thinking, Supernatural Business. Anointed for Business is a wonderful book to get your head around the whole kingdom business assignment type thing. So I just stick to those, Good to Great, 1 Minute Manager, Titans of Industry. Steer clear of the dumb ones like the 4-Hour Work Week. I mean, we were made to work. So, the word work and the word worship is the same word in scripture. It's the word avoda. So we're meant to work. So I don't know what this trying to work 4 hours a week thing is all about. Like I meet people that do 40 hours a week and I used to have a part-time job too once. So, we're supposed to work hard. So don't get caught up in the, you can make $1 million in your underpants on the internet type thing. That's not really real.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing I kind of struggled with some of the people I was associating with early in my business is they were like, oh, you just cut this corner and you'll get rich quick, and I'm like, but I can't do that. It's not right. Like, because people get hurt by that decision, And I
mean, and if you go back, I wonder how many of them actually made it. They might have made a quick win, but having a quick win and building sustainable wealth is very different. You basically, I mean, Bible says little by little is blessed when it comes to wealth creation, because when you get a big chunk out of nowhere, we tend not to know how to handle it. So I would rather be rich for sure, rather than be trying to get rich quick, right? So for me, it's building businesses and building real estate. That's my thing. Real estate is the slowest, non-sexiest form of wealth creation there is, but it's the surest. And so that's just the way I look at it. I've got a whole life yielded to Christ. I don't need to become a hero overnight.
And the average person, like even for myself and Karen, like Karen's in Bordertown, South Australia. So would you have any advice for someone, say, who's in a regional area and just trying to get out of that regional area at this time when they're locked down, to get more?
Well, if you go online, you're no longer geographically limited, right? All you need now is Calendly and a PayPal link, and you can be a consultant.
But how do you cut through that noise of everyone else? Like, just say, I don't know, you're an accountant or you're something else that's you could call commodity almost. Like, it's kind of like
it all comes down to your value proposition and your message. if you've got something unique to the market and you've got something that serves people well, and you can give that enough of a push, it will get cut through. What doesn't get cut through is when your message is the same as everybody else's. If you're plus 5 minus percent, like it just doesn't work, right?
Yep.
But if you've got a fresh message and you've got something that actually matters, you can push that out and it will cut through.
Okay. So what would be one example, like in accounting? Like, I'm not an accountant, but just say there's an accountant out there that's got 3 clients, they're in the middle of nowhere. How could they get an edge? Because, I mean, my view of some accountants is they're not as creative as some of us. So how would they get that creativity? Do they grab someone, find someone locally that's creative to help them, or
maybe they do have to find somebody local that can help them with the creativity. But basically, the question is, what makes me unique?
Yep.
Right. As an accountant, I've got to sit there and go, there's 1,000 accountants in Australia. What makes me unique? And then massage that message to something that's commercial. Right. Okay. So for me, I might go, okay, I might do a video that says, hey, I'm an accountant like everybody else, but I'm not bothered with compliance. Compliance is a given. We'll do your books. Here's what makes me unique.
Yep.
I look at my client's profit and loss every single month, and I spend 5 to 7 minutes looking at every client, unbillable time, and I find an issue or a potential issue in their business, and I call them and I say, hey, you need to go and check this out. And I do that because I want to be the advisor that has their back. Yep. You do that video as an accountant, push that out. You all of a sudden you got a stream of clients because no accountant's doing that, and it doesn't fit their model because they'd be like, how do I do non-billable 6-minute units? But that you just got to get a message that people would really want that you can deliver on, and then push that through.
Okay, fantastic. And I guess if they need more training and things like that, they can come see you or read some books and do just. Yeah,
there's plenty of info out there.
Yeah, that's it. So anyway, I'd just like to thank you for your time and for everything you're doing for Christian ministry in Australia, like in the business sphere. I know I've personally benefited from a lot of your advice. So and slowly putting that into, probably slower than I wanted to, putting it into practice. So yeah, thank you for that. And I look forward to seeing a lot more of you out there as you kind of grow this and really impact like Australia in the ways that you said you would, and you've grown into that. That's one thing I really respect about you is like what you say you do, and you've really achieved some great stuff. So thank you so much for that.
Mate, the pleasure's mine. It's a joy to hang out with you and with Karen, and what you're doing here is wonderful. So I pray God's biggest blessing on it.
Yep. Thank you very much. And Karen's her internet's dropped out, so unfortunately we lost her. So just one last time, your website for Kingdom Business? Kingdombusiness.com.au, and the YouTube is youtube.com/Kingdom Business.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Wez. And bless you, buddy. Good to chat.
Okay, you too. Bye for now.
Cheers, Chris.